The New York Department of Sanitation and New York City Emergency Management are holding a press conference ahead of tomorrow's expected snow. Let's listen in.
Any participation that we are going to get is expected to be done by 2 p.m. tomorrow. There is a total possibility, or a possibility for a total snow accumulation of just 1/10 of an inch or less. As the storm does taper, however, we are expecting a cold front to move into the city and causing a significant drop in temperatures into Tuesday afternoon. Though the temperatures are going to start out very mild in the morning, you're going to wake up and it's going to feel like a nice fall day. It's going to get very chilly by the time you go home in the afternoon. This cold weather will continue into Wednesday morning with wind chill values in the teens, and as the temperatures continue to drop, remember to dress for the weather, bundle up. You are going to need both your hat, your scarf, and also your gloves. It is going to be cold by the time you go home tomorrow. I also just want to take this opportunity to encourage everybody here to check on your neighbors and your friends, those who may need a little bit of extra assistance or might be more vulnerable in the conditions. And for more information and updates related to the weather, you can always follow us on Notify NYC. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. So, as the Commissioner stated, we do not expect heavy accumulations tomorrow. However, the Sanitation Department has prepared for there to be an event, and we will have all of our spreaders on standby and ready to go. So we will have over 725 pieces of equipment. We also have 318,000 tons of salt on hand for this event. But I want to be very clear, when you wake up in the morning, it will not feel like we are having winter weather. When you wake up, you will think you just need a light jacket. We would discourage you from driving into weather that is going to change very, very quickly through the day with temperatures falling. It can and may get icy out there, though we are anticipating that all of the rain will completely dissipate before we get into very low freezing temperatures. With that, we are happy to take any questions you might have.
So no pre-treatment is needed or anything like this?
So because we are going into a rain situation, we are likely to start salting a little bit ahead of when the first flake is, but we can't use brine because it will be diluted before it would be effective when the snow or frozen mix or whatever ends up happening. But this has been a forecast that has changed significantly back and forth over the last few days. Yesterday we had no snow in the forecast. The day before that we had snow in the forecast. Earlier last week we had significant accumulation. So we would encourage people to be paying attention to the weather as we go into the morning hours.
Any concerns for school buses or, kids getting to school? Or
actually, considering when the timing of this winter weather is happening, the children should be in school and should not have left school yet when school buses would be on the road. So we are in contact with the Department of Education through OEM to make sure that they're aware of the weather. We have been in contact with all of the departments of transportation as well as the Port Authority and the MTA to make sure that they are prepared for whatever might happen. We don't anticipate a significant event. However, we just want to make sure that folks are listening to the weather as we go through tomorrow.
Commissioner, how did last year's storm around this time impact how you guys are preparing for the storms that are going to be upon us this year, including this first one where we could see the potential of snow?
So one of the things that we had said last year is that we were going to over-communicate, and we were going to over-communicate even when obviously we're having an astonishingly beautiful fall day today, that there are really significant transitions that can happen in weather that can go from very innocuous to very challenging very quickly, and we need New Yorkers to be paying attention to that, and we need them to think about not driving even when they wake up in the morning tomorrow, and there's no hazard condition in the early hours. And so I think that we are taking a very conservative approach to make sure we are at the ready should this change on us. And we obviously, with OEM and the National Weather Service, will look at the models overnight and in the early morning hours and to see if we need to make any sort of change.
And that whole greening implementation, you said we'll have to wait a little longer this time?
Right, so we can't brine the streets unless they're dry. Otherwise, it's just going to dilute. So we will likely salt ahead of the first flake because that will actually, in and of itself, almost create its own brine.
Is there any thoughts about with the temperatures expected to drop significantly from the afternoon to the night? Any thoughts about treatment after the precipitation falls?
So we are watching whether or not we end up with icing conditions. What we anticipate from what the Weather Service has told us is that we will have a period of drying before we have the really cold temperatures come in, but we will have people on the ready to make sure that we can manage any of those icing conditions. And also, just as another front, if you are doing construction, please be aware that using a lot of water for concrete is not a great idea as we go into low temperatures on the overnight.
Any manpower issues? You're going to have extra manpower?
So we are full force tomorrow, which means that anyone who is available to work is working at the Department of Sanitation. We did not split the shifts, but we will have on the order of 4,300 people working tomorrow. Sorry, I was doing the math in my head.
How many pieces of equipment?
So we intend to actually roll the spreaders tomorrow. There will be 725 spreaders out. We do anticipate collecting, recycling, and refuse. However, there may be delays if we need to switch people to more snow fighting from that.
Sorry, could you repeat how much salt you had?
Certainly, we have 318,000 tons of salt on hand.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Sorry, I got in late.
Oh, that's okay. I was having a little flashbulb issue. Most of the
You've been watching a press conference ahead of tomorrow's storm. We will continue to follow this story on CBS 2 News, CBSN New York, and online at cbsnewyork.com.